Welcome to Top Tier Wrestling, your ultimate destination for all things AEW and WWE. Whether you're a hardcore wrestling fanatic or just a casual viewer, we've got you covered with the latest news, in-depth show reviews, and our unfiltered opinions on everything happening in the world of professional wrestling. Join us as we dive into the high-octane action, dramatic storylines, and backstage buzz of AEW and WWE. Get ready to step into the ring with us and stay on top of the wrestling world. This is Top Tier Wrestling. Welcome to Top Tier Wrestling. I'm your host, Josh, the Chancellor of Chair Shots, and joining me, as always, is my incredible co-host, the Rebel of Rope Breaks, Dawn. Tonight, we're covering WWE SmackDown from April 11th. Let's get into it. This episode of SmackDown is being broadcast from Seattle, Washington at the Climate Pledge Arena, and the show opens with Nick Aldis in the ring. And he's looking none too pleased.
He's big mad.
He's big mad. And he goes on to indicate that last week there were a number of viral moments, and he's here to address one in particular. And he says, wonder if you could figure out which one that is. We could. It was where Randy Orton RKO'd the bejesus out of him. He indicates that he's been instructed to maintain his professionalism, so he's going to do just that, but then he invites Randy Orton to come down to the ring right now. And of course, that cues up Randy Orton, who apparently was hearing voices. And when he makes his way to the ring, he says to Nick that he can tell by the look in his eyes that he took the RKO last week very personally. And he asks, you can't possibly believe you didn't see yourself eating an RKO at some point in the future. As a matter of fact, the same thing happened last year. He paid the fine in advance. He paid double because he knew it would happen again. But he goes on to say the reason he really wanted to speak to Nick is it's incredulous to him that there's not a match on the table for Randy Orton at WrestleMania 41. And he indicates that this is important to him, especially because this would be his 20th time competing at WrestleMania. And he needs Nick to do his job and to make him an opponent, which was a very strange turn of phrase. Make him an opponent. So just carve him one out of clay and noodles.
Yes, he went Fiddler on the Roof. He, matchmaker, make me a match, Nick Aldis.
Exactly so. And he says he guarantees that he'll be in Vegas warmed up and ready to go. He says he doesn't care what it takes. Maybe even Nick Aldis could lose the suit for a night and gear up. Whatever it takes to get a match at WrestleMania. And Nick kind of states, look, you know, it's not about the money. It's not about anything else, Randy. I need your respect, not your cash. And Randy says, well, funny enough, Nick, you earned my respect some time ago, but if you don't deliver a match for yours truly next week at WrestleMania 41, I can't promise that I'll apologize to Mickie James. For those not aware, that is Nick Aldis' real-life wife. After I do what I'm going to do if I don't get my match. And at that point, Solo Sikoa's music kicks up, and him and Tama Tonga make their way up the entrance ramp, but not quite into the ring. And he says, hey, Mr. Aldis, please tell Randy to get out of the ring and stop embarrassing himself. Don't nobody want to hear you crying and whining, Randy, about how boo-hoo you're not going to WrestleMania. Who gives a crap? It's over for you, Randy. You know why? Because you're the past. And next week, LA Knight is going to end up on the same boat as you in the past. Because at WrestleMania, the Samoan werewolf Jacob Fatu's walking out as the new United States champion. And you, Randy, will be sitting at home all alone. And Randy apparently was amused by this. He says, oh, that's funny. You know what I think is funnier? The fact that you had the both of you, the balls. Yeah, I'm talking to you too. Yeah, Tomatonga.
Mm.
To come out here and interrupt me while I'm talking, while I'm trying to be, for the first time in my career, diplomatic about some business to do with WrestleMania 41, and you had the balls to interrupt me. He says the voices have been knocking for a few weeks now, and you know why they've been knocking? I've got all this pent up aggression. What they're telling me now, boys, is to get your asses in this ring. I'm going to show Seattle how to beat up two Samoans. And then Tama and Solo proceed to do just that. But they try to go from opposite sides, hoping to get the drop on Randy. And at first, it doesn't go so well for him because Randy's got their number. But eventually, the numbers game catches up on them, and they start beating up Randy, at which point, LA Knight storms into the ring to make the save. And while all three of them while both Randy and LA are in the ring and Solo and Tama are outside of the ring, LA Knight says, long story short, he says, if you two don't get where he's coming from, if you got enough tingle in your loins, a little later tonight, it's you two versus us two. Nick Aldis, how do you feel about that? And Nick says, yeah, I feel pretty good about that. Let's do it. And so the main event for SmackDown this evening will be LA Knight and Randy Orton versus Tama Tonga and Solo Sikoa.
Tesseract and Wade then spent a very uncomfortable amount of time talking about tingling in their loins.
Like the whole rest of the night. Like just the tingliest of loins.
Gross.
Yeah, I get a little worried about, like, a little iffy about where Wade's coming from, because he's also got, like, this huge man crush on Dominic Mysterio.
I don't want to put those together.
Tingly Dominique loins. That's Wade Barrett.
Nope. I want to keep that. I want to keep that at a distance. At a distance. I don't want those thoughts. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Well, you can thank Wade and Joe
No,
Tesseract.
I can't. You. That was you. They
were the ones that had all their tingly loins.
Nope, I died mentally, mostly from you. That was all. That was you. That was you, Burger. Ow, you chomp.
Well, moving on from Wade's weird predilections. The first match of the night is the advertised gauntlet match for the number one contenders for Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez's WWE Women's Tag Team Championship at WrestleMania 41. And this was a heck of a match. Would you like to speak to it?
I said whenever I saw that they were going to be tag teaming, that after watching them in a match together for sure, like against each other, I knew for a fact that these two ladies together as a tag team would be something special. And I, once again, because of my strong mental heal powers, was correct. I don't know. I mean, I'm telling you. I don't know. I should get paid for this. I should get paid for my psychic wrestling abilities. But they were freaking amazing. Bailey, I don't know what's going on with the allergies, but Bailey and Lyra looked so good together with every competitor that came into the ring. And I knew for a fact in my head, you could not tell me that they would go all the way. You couldn't tell me that they would go all the way because I was certain that there was a particular team that was going to come along and would dethrone them. They're going through 5 different matches here, right? Like 5 different matches, guys. And Liv Morgan is out. Liv Morgan and Raquel are out there sitting, chilling, having the best refreshing day of their lives. But I think the first group was oh god, who the Who were the first two ladies?
Bailey and Lyra versus Pure Fusion Collective, or what remains.
They were the first ones. All right, yeah. What remains? I like that they kept the name, but I want to make note first that Baszler was looking jacked as shit.
Like super jacked.
Baszler's been spending some time in the gym, and it's showing. Great, looks good. Of course, oh my god, her partner, Stark. Stark always looks jacked, right? So, they looked good in the ring, but they didn't win. And I kind of knew they weren't gonna win. They weren't gonna win. We're talking Bailey and Lyra, you know what I mean? So, they're not gonna win. They're gone. I think theirs probably the shortest. Their match was probably the shortest. And,
Yep.
probably the least exciting. Like, there wasn't much that was happening there. I'm not saying that it wasn't good, but out of the 5 matches, it was probably the
It went up from there. Yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah,
agree.
yes, yeah, yeah. It had a good. It was a slow burn. It had a good little burn, but ultimately it wasn't the star of the channel in this particular match. Bailey and Lyra win that, and then after that, I believe it was Natalya and Maxine Dupree.
Yep.
It got better.
And,
Huh?
just real quick, because I don't think we're going to be able to talk through this match without kind of describing who wins. And instead of giving like a play-by-play like I sometimes do, I think I'll just mention how the pinfall that won the match was.
Okay.
And in the one with Pure Fusion Collective, Valkyria ends up countering out of an elbow stomp into a jackknife hold, which she used, I want to say, the week before to score a pinfall. And that eliminates Pure Fusion Collection. And that brings us to where you were going with their new opponents, Natalya and Maxine Dupree.
Up next, they were. And surprisingly, this one was a little bit better than Shayna and Stark. And I think it was because we got to see a little bit more of Maxine. And I mean, of her in-ring work, okay, you freaks.
I don't know. Right when they had that intro, Maxine was like practically bending over on the entrance ramp.
Yeah.
So we got to see a little bit more of her than we usually do.
I'm not sure what was happening there. I mean, I'm not complaining. I wasn't arguing about it. But I guess it's a pose that she's doing now. Bless her. Anyway, she looked really good in the ring. I could see a lot of improvement. Natalya, of course, is Natalya. You want to talk about how the pin was done between this particular set?
Oh, yes. The match started out with Natalya, and it was sort of mid to late that she tags in Maxine Dupree, and Maxine's looking good. She even hit like a double reverse caterpillar, which was pretty cool. However, when Maxine goes to show out a notch and go for a sharpshooter, presumably paying homage to her tag partner Natalya, Bailey, the more experienced competitor, rolls her up and gets a 1-2-3 in a roll-up pin. And unfortunately, that ends the night for Natalya and Maxine Dupree.
And Natalya looked very shocked and upset.
And upset. Very pissed.
Very pissed, yeah. After that, out came Michin and B-Fab. And the slow burn increases.
Actually, I think it was Katana Chance and Kid Carter.
Oh, was it? I was trying to breeze.
So.
I was trying to breeze past them.
I think you had a block on them. Because you don't. I don't think you care for that tag team too much. They don't even have a proper tag name.
Yeah, right. You make me say your entire names like Katana Chance and Caden Carter. How dare you? But right. They were next, and they were good. You can talk about how they got.
It wasn't bad, but it was nothing like super standout. And I think this was one of the shorter pairings, or it felt that way. It
Yeah.
felt like it was over pretty quick for them. They did get to hit some of their high spots.
They did, yeah.
Like the keg stand. But ultimately, Chance attempts to go for a Hurricane Rana and gets caught. And at first, I thought Valkyria was going to hit a power bomb. She doesn't. Instead, she lifts her fully back up, gets her into a fireman's carry position, and drills her with a Nightwing. A really good-looking one, by the way, because in the past I've criticized Valkyria for kind of hitting it and making it look soft.
Yeah.
She drilled this one and gets the 1, 2, 3. And that eliminates Katana Chance and Caden Carter.
Yeah. Unfortunately. Anyway, after that, out came Michin and B-Fab. And B-Fab is looking real good in the ring. As long as I never
Totally agree.
yeah, and as long as I never have to see Michin twerk again, anything she does in the ring, I'm gonna give her 2 thumbs up. Just don't twerk.
You're not a super mega fan of the flatback attack?
I don't want to watch you flap your back around. I don't want to see it for any amount of time. Okay, stop it. Stop it. Don't be the Miley Cyrus of the wrestling community. Don't do that. Don't. And also, I'm not sure. You know what? I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. I'm gonna say that I'm gonna stick with the match. This match. This match was pretty good. Again, Michin, aside from the flatback attack, aside from that, she brings it in the ring. And I thought if anybody was gonna give them, Bailey and Lyra, that is, a difficult time in the ring, it would be Michin and B-Fab. But that's exactly what happened. You want to talk about how?
I will. I fully agree with you, by the way. B-Fab looks great. Every time we see her in the ring, she shows us something new.
Yeah.
And in this particular instance, one of the new things that she showed off was sort of a modified X Factor, where she starts with them kind of facing away and then almost does like a neck breaker style spin into an X Factor. It looked really cool. And easily, at this point in the match, Michin and B-Fab gave Bailey and Lyra the most difficulty. There was a point near the end of the match where Michin drop-kicked Valkyria to the floor and then lands a suicide dive, leaving Bailey and B-Fab in the ring. And B-Fab goes for that spinning heel kick, the back spinning kick that she does where she puts her leg like in the lights, like it's way up there.
Yeah.
And Bailey just pushed it down. She said, nah, I ain't getting hit with that right now. And
Yeah, I'm
then
good.
Bailey immediately turns that into a rose plant against B-Fab, and to her credit, B-Fab sold the rose plant beautifully.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like a nasty little DDT. And unfortunately, since Michin had thrown herself out of the ring, Lyra Valkyria is able to hang on to her, and this allows B-Fab to be eliminated. And that is how this match brought an end to Michin and B-Fab's hopes of being the number 1 contenders.
And it was good. After that,
It was good.
Yeah, it was real good. After that, the biggest and I believe final threat to Bailey and Lyra advancing was the Secret Hervis with Chelsea Green. And you guys, if you don't know, the Secret Hervis is Alba Fire and Piper Niven. I was about to go. Why? I can never stop calling this girl Dewdrop. Forever.
Aw.
I know, and that's unnecessary. I'm so sorry. And this was like, I'm thinking, okay, they're tired now. They've gone through 4 other tag teams. This is it. Piper coming out there? Piper. You have to have a match with Piper after having a match. I'm sorry, 4 other matches? Nah. But nope. Nope, they pulled it out. But this was no easy task. There were some really cool things that were happening there, and Alba is looking better than ever. Beast mode. I can see why she remained with the WWE or remained hired.
Yep.
I mean, honestly, and she gives the impression that she really, really loves this particular role that she's doing. She seems to be
Yeah.
embracing this. Whenever she got a she's saluting every chance she gets. Man, she is into it. You want to talk about how this one ended?
Well, first and foremost, I'd like to give a lot of credit to all 4 of these women. Bailey and Lyra are excellent, and they were excellent for essentially 4 or 5 straight matches.
Yeah.
And the Secret Harvest looked amazing. I'm going to talk a little bit about the finish or the near fall that happened prior to the finish. Because it was one of the coolest things I've seen either Piper Niven or Alba Fire do. Essentially, they've got the one-up on Lyra Valkyria and Bailey for a brief bit. And this was shortly after Niven had hit Bailey with an excellent black hole slam or boss woman slam, or whichever way you want to refer to that move. And she tags in Alba Fire, and Fire immediately knocks Lyra Valkyria off the apron, leaving a relatively beat up Bailey in the ring with these 2 women. And it's at that point that Piper Niven picks Bailey up and puts her in, like, I didn't know what to call it. It was like she turned her into a pretzel, but I believe it's like a straitjacket type hold. But basically stands behind her, crossing her arms, like Bailey's arms, in front of her while holding on to them. And then, using one foot to make Bailey kneel by kicking the back of her knee. And then once Bailey is fully on both of her knees, Piper kind of hooks her feet underneath Bailey's and then falls backwards, leaving Bailey just belly up exposed. And at that point, Alba Fire hits a gorgeous swanton bomb. And you and I both looked at that and we were like, oh, that's it. We thought they were going to go all the way, but that has to be it. That was amazing. Unfortunately, or fortunately, at that point, Lyra Valkyria manages to rush back into the ring and pushes Piper Niven hard enough to send her tumbling over the top of Fire, who was pinning Bailey, and that breaks up the pin. And we were both like jaw on floor because like after that cool ass move, we thought that's got to be the finish. Nope. What ended up happening next was Alba Fire is now in the ring with Bailey. And after that pin got broken up, they both kind of get back to their feet, and Alba Fire super kicks Bailey for a 2 count. And then she attempts to go for a vertical suplex, but Bailey rolls off the back, landing on her feet. At that point, Bailey tags in Lyra Valkyria, and with Alba Fire rushing towards her in the corner, Bailey does a drop toe hold, sending Fire to the middle turnbuckle pad. And from that point, Bailey grabs hold of Alba Fire and hits her with a rose plant. And the rose plant bounces Alba Fire like almost back onto her feet. It was well sold. And from kind of a bent over position, Lyra Valkyria then jumps off of the top rope and does like a guillotine leg drop. It's very similar to the finishing move that Carmelo Hayes uses from time to time. And this just looked brutal. Like, it really was a guillotine-looking leg drop. Like, Alba was flattened with this move.
Yeah.
And at that point, Valkyria rolls her over to get the 1-2-3, which means that Bailey and Lyra Valkyria are the winners of this women's gauntlet match and the new number 1 contenders to face Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez for the Women's World Tag Championships at WrestleMania 41. And on top of that, they just won this gauntlet going bell to bell. They were the first ones in and the last ones standing.
Yeah.
Well done, ladies. Well done. I don't mind saying, I mean, tonight there were a lot of good matches, but the first match, this gauntlet, was match of the night.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Yeah. No pun on Alba's name, but it was fire. It really was. It was great. And these women brought it. Every team came in there and did their very, very best. It was a fantastic series of matches. And mega kudos to Bailey and Lyra for fighting their way through that many back-to-back matches. Almost no flubs whatsoever. And the one that I can think of was very minor. I think Piper had some trouble getting over the top rope when she was supposed to fall out. They salvaged it. It was no problem.
Yeah.
Great match.
Yep.
Great match. And following that match, we hear from Joe Tessitore. He informs us that Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton will be receiving disciplinary action for their promo exchange last week. Apparently, they went off script, and the higher-ups did not approve. And additionally, before the show, Charlotte had apparently attacked Tiffany in the parking lot. And because of that, Charlotte Flair was sent home.
For the week.
So she will not... For the week.
Yeah.
Right. So she won't be at SmackDown tonight, and we probably won't see her until SmackDown next week, just ahead of WrestleMania. And after that... we find out that at WrestleMania 41, Drew McIntyre will battle Damian Priest in a Sin City street fight.
No idea what that means, but we'll see, I guess.
Yep.
Excuse me.
And did you want to speak to the DIY and Pretty Deadly promo?
You know I don't.
Oh,
but
okay.
but before that though, apparently like Drew attacked Priest from behind ahead of their face-to-face segment. All that happened around about the same time.
Yeah, it was a little bit awkward the way they split this up.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looked like, I believe Damian Priest was actually coming to the ring. And then before he got there, out came Drew McIntyre and beat him up a bit. And then they all had to, like all of the referee corps and whatnot, had to come out and help Priest to the back, which will lead into a Drew McIntyre promo, but it came after what we see with DIY.
Yeah. So basically, DIY is back. They're backstage complaining to Pretty Deadly for some reason about the match that they had the week before with who was it with? What was it with Street Profits? I can't remember I can't even remember who they had a match with. But they removed.
Wasn't it Motor City?
I think it was Motor City, but they removed the turnbuckle cover in that match, and it ended up backfiring where one of them ended up getting hit. And so they kept watching that move over and over again, talking about the missing turnbuckle cover and to Pretty Deadly of all tag teams. And they think there's a conspiracy going on. Pretty Deadly believes that DIY have lost the freaking plot.
Yes, boy.
Yeah, yes, boy. When they lost the tag titles. And I think there was mentions of rabbit holes. Stepping into rabbit holes because, so like metaphorically speaking, right? Pretty Deadly were saying that they stepped into rabbit holes because of the crazy theories that they had walked into when DIY were over there scratching their heads and just they talking about the turnbuckle incident incessantly, like so which I thought was pretty funny. They mentioned desperation not being a good look for DIY. Their faces aren't good looks for DIY. Motor City Machine Guns walk up and they tell DIY to keep moping about what happened last week. I almost said mopping. That's ridiculous. Because they're focused on their tag team title match next week with the Street Profits. And I thought to myself, yep, go ahead and give them the address and the time of your match as well, so they can come in and screw things up for you.
Right, like they're begging for that.
Yeah, but Motor City Gun Machines decided to let them know that this was not a conspiracy. This was karma. It looked like they'd be like, "This is karma, brother." They look like those types of dudes.
They might be.
Like they go home and they have drum circles, you know.
Oh no!
They got like those wooden swords. They go outside and they practice in the backyard. All right. Anyway,
with Eric and Ivar.
They got like Viking tattoos. They believe that they were like, Braveheart in the past life and shit. Anyway, after that. Anyway, after that, we have Drew McIntyre whining. I'm sorry, a promo. And I think this is the one he did in the ring, right?
Yes. Yeah. This is where Drew has already beaten up Priest. Priest is now in the back, and Drew is in the middle of the ring with a microphone.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
and an eye patch.
I was starting to see clearly now, because he thought that was funny because he's got the eye patch and he's, you guys get it.
Are we starting?
Like Street Fighter, like the movie. You guys remember Street Fighter where he made the eye patch joke? Nah, if you don't, look it up. I'm not gonna tell you. You guys go look that movie up. It's a classic. Anyway.
Rip Raul Julia.
Yeah, Raul. Yeah, our cats call for Raul Julia every freaking night.
Every night. Raul.
Raul. It took a few people a while to catch up. This is Drew, guys, not my cat. But everybody can see as plain as day. Drew McIntyre only tells the truth, and every action is justified, including dropping his stupid ass. So, he's taken to calling Damian Priest a parasite now. Drew, look, y'all, Drew is on one, okay? He's extra, and he essentially has come to the ring to crash out. That's why he's there, okay? But he already beat up his opponent, so now he's come out to crash out on just the mat. I don't know. This mat's about to get it. The mic's about to get it. Everybody's about to get it. He cut a promo for WrestleMania, right? Like he was busy, he was essentially saying that the match that he's gonna have with him is a year in the making. Like it's more of the same with this promo. Like honestly, it's just he talks about the injustices that he's experienced over the year. He's gone down the list of all the things that Damien has done him dirty on, and how he plans on getting his revenge, where he's gonna get his revenge. That's it. Like that's it. And then while he's doing that, though, Damian Priest comes out, because he finds out while Drew's talking, Drew takes his eye patch off. Because he has this really weird part in his promo where he just sounded like a male stripper suddenly.
You're right, like he's seducing the camera, and he's like, "Oh, Seattle.
Yeah.
Do you want me to let you in on a little secret?" And I'm like, "I don't know, Drew. Not with that face. What's happening?"
Yeah, I sat back, I don't know, bro. Maybe? I don't know. What you about to tell us? And then he pulled off his eye patch, and I'm so happy that it was his eye patch that he pulled off.
The only article of clothing that he removed.
Yeah. And it was at this moment that Damian Priest was backstage and was like, "You done fucked up." So then he comes out, and there's all these like security guards and stuff around him, and then he just starts whipping their asses, and then he tears ass down the ramp to get into the ring, and it was more of the same, more beatings. I
The
think, yeah,
beatings.
like more like they are really, really, really trying to hype this particular matchup, and like you guys don't have to do too much more. Like I'm here. I was already excited to see these two in the ring once you mentioned it. Once they said Damien, Damien and Drew, I was like, "Yep, let's go. This is amazing." Um, but we had to have Damien sell another bobblehead uh segment. My man goes dead bobblehead whenever.
Like what did you call it when it was Hangman with the big eyes? What, Manson
Yeah,
lamps?
Manson, yes.
No, this
Yes.
was Priest with the Manson lamps.
Manson lamp bobbleneck. Like he just like put those two things together. Put Manson lamps. You guys know what Manson lamps are. Put those together, right? And then put a weak like rubber neck to it, like a bobblehead. Put those two things, and you got pure nightmare fuel. That's supposed to be Damien selling an injury or a move done to him by Drew McIntyre. He does so by turning into an undead zombie. That's that's how he does it.
Yeah.
Like
And this
oh
was
my
only
god! I think I figured it out. It's the
what's
parasite
that?
that Drew mentioned. See, whenever
Oh.
he gets a maneuver, whenever Damon gets a move done to him, he's out. But the parasite still awake. So that's how that is.
Aha, maybe that's it. Yeah, yeah. Like
Oh,
Priest is out, but his tapeworm is alive and well.
I didn't say tapeworm. So don't, guys, don't. You can't call you can't call it a tapeworm. That takes all cool.
Well,
That takes all coolness out of it. You gotta
what
say
what
parasite.
what what kind of parasite? Like an alien,
I
an
don't.
evil spirit?
You leave it open. You leave it open for people to, you
Oh,
know,
mystery
yeah,
parasite.
you can't say tapeworm because then people go, oh, so what, he can eat whatever he wants and he just has weird shits? Like, you can't, you can't do it like that.
Well, in this particular instance, we saw Priest hit the Manson lamps after Drew McIntyre hit a huge Future Shock DDT on him on the stairs. And then Priest looked legit like his head was broken. Like they zoomed in and he's just big eyes and looking up into space. That's the second time we've seen like Damian Priest selling like he is now like mentally not there. Like he is fully fucked up in the head now.
Oh my god, I just found a picture of it.
Oh no. And
Woo.
and just before McIntyre like poses because he won the promo, I guess he snatches Priest's cross off of his neck, like the chain he was wearing.
Yeah, I think he was wearing that just for that particular.
Because McIntyre's praying for bad things to happen to his priest.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you, like I feel like McIntyre's got the one up on Priest in this build up. Now I know we still have one more SmackDown before we get to WrestleMania, but based on what I'm seeing, it looks like if the pattern holds, that means Priest is going to win
Yeah, I think.
because he's gotten his ass kicked in the promos.
Yeah, I think he is. Now, unless next week, uh, he comes out and just like lays waste to Drew, then I'll be like, ooh, I don't know, maybe not. But right now, I think that he's going to. I think he's gonna win.
Yeah, I kind of am feeling that too, because otherwise it's just been McIntyre kicking the hell out of him. Because McIntyre legit has had the one up on Priest throughout these exchanges. I know Priest, like last week, attacked him in the parking lot and supposedly hurt his eye, but the fact that he was able to come out here and take the eye patch off, like That just makes me think it wasn't that big a deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas McIntyre keeps dropping Priest on his head and neck in such a way that makes me think that he has lost brain cells at the end of this. Like
Yeah.
he is leaving Priest drooling and twitching, and it's just not. I mean, it's not been a good look for Priest. He does not look dominant here. He looks like he's getting his ass whipped.
Yeah. I agree. So we'll see what they're gonna do with that.
Indeed, I'm here for it though. I'm real curious. Like this could be an excellent match. If Priest can actually make it to the ring before all he can do is drool and twitch. Speaking of getting one's ass whipped, that brings us to the next match, which is Berto of Legado del Fantasma versus a recently debuted Rey Fenix. And for those that may recall, last week after Rey Fenix's debut, they showed us backstage. Legado was watching on the monitor, and Berto had mad shit to say. What was it? Like, he's just a flash in the pan. I could beat him. He's a flying lizard.
Yeah. The flying lizard was like, what? That's crazy.
Yeah, maybe that's a Mexican insult. I don't know. Or maybe it's just a bad insult.
Yeah.
I don't know. Flying lizard? What? That's weird. That's a weird one.
It's crazy. It's a crazy word. Crazy wordplay.
Crazy word. And this was actually a really impressive match. Both Phoenix and Berto looked very good. There was like, I want to say Berto twice in this match countered into big sit-out power bombs, and both of them looked just ferocious on Rey Fenix.
Yeah.
But ultimately, Rey Fenix is able to outmaneuver Berto. Again, though, a good showing from Berto. But it ends up, just to kind of get to the closing segment, Phoenix delivers the goodbye amigo kick, which is the one where his opponent is draped on the top rope and he runs from the top turnbuckle across the rope and kicks the snot out of them. And then Berto, after getting hit with the goodbye amigo kick, goes into the turnbuckle, and Phoenix then does like a jumping springboard spinning back kick, which, I mean, Van Dam would be proud of this thing. And after that, Phoenix connects with the Mexican Muscle Buster to pick up the victory. And following that, Santos Escobar comes out, and while he's disappointed in Berto, he insists that Berto shake Phoenix's hand. And Berto does, but in a real snotty, like, annoyed teenager kind of way.
Yeah, yep.
But then Escobar goes up to Phoenix and legitimately shakes his hand and seems impressed. So overall, what did you think of this match?
This match was better than I gave it. I mean, I knew it was going to be great because Rey Fenix was in it, right? But I guess I should be honest and say that I didn't have much faith that Berto would be a good competitive match to Rey, and I was incorrect.
Yeah.
I think Berto looked real good, and I should say that none of the matches that happened tonight were bad. None. They were all quality matches tonight for this particular SmackDown episode. Everybody brought it.
Mm-hmm.
So this match was no different. Rey Fenix, I can sing praises about that dude nonstop. He's fantastic. But Berto was the surprise for me. He looked more than competent against Rey Fenix, and it wasn't an easy match for Rey Fenix. It wasn't like I'm gonna get in here, do 2 or 3 moves, and then I'm gonna squash this bug. No. Berto took him to task, like took him to he pushed him. So this was a really good match that made a great showing, or that had a great showing for Berto.
Yeah, and I know we'll joke sometimes and be like, "Who's La Garza?" But to be fair, over the past couple of years, Berto has had almost as much of a physical change as we give credit to guys like Gunter and to Ludwig Kaiser. Not that Berto had like a ton of fat on him, but he has really chiseled his physique down
Yeah.
and is looking fantastic. And on top of that, after tonight's performance, I have more respect for what Berto is capable of in that ring. So it was a fantastic showing for him.
Yeah. Agreed.
Well, and following that match, we are taken to uh, Brian Sextant in the backstage area where he is having an interview with a visiting Roxanne Perez from NXT. And she says since Ava Raine continues to ignore her demands in NXT, she wants to speak directly to Nick Aldis. She feels like she'd be the perfect person to become the WWE Women's Champion because she's a professional, unlike Tiffany Stratton and, I don't know, Charlotte Flair after their unprofessional outbursts. So she's talking mad smack.
Mm-hmm.
She says she's ready to steal the show, unlike Tiffany Stratton, who can't seem to handle the pressure. Well, that's when Tiffany Stratton, who obviously fortuitously happened to just be right there, joins the conversation. And she tells Roxanne that she is the last person that should be talking about her. She says Roxanne could learn something from her. And Roxanne says, I disagree. I see right through you, Tiffany. And she's glad that Tiffany showed her true colors last week. She just hopes that Tiffany doesn't lose her WrestleMania match. I don't believe that. I think Roxanne hopes that Tiffany loses her WrestleMania match. And then Roxanne challenges Tiffany to a match, and Tiffany acquiesces and says, I will give you the spotlight that you're so desperately craving, Roxanne. And since Nick Aldis is right there, because this whole conversation took place out front of his door, where I guess Roxanne was waiting to speak to him, he shows up while these women are bickering, hears that the challenge is made, and Tiffany's like, so what do you think about that, Nick? And he says he'll think about it, but in the meantime, he wants Tiffany to go cool off. Apparently, Tiffany and Charlotte are in trouble with the higher-ups.
Yeah. And he was acting like it too. Like Nick gave her the disappointed dad response. I don't know, we'll see. She go do your homework.
Yeah, and unlike Adam Pierce, when Nick did it, it felt like a reprimand. It didn't feel like a backhand.
Yeah. Yep. Facts.
And then
bars.
Bars. After that, we're treated to a very prolonged video package of CM Punk and Paul Heyman's friendship from the day they met to right now. So that everybody can understand that wasn't completely fabricated for the sake of this coming triple threat match.
I'm not gonna lie. Well, I don't think it's fabricated. They really have been friends that long. But I'm not gonna lie. I did mute the music and the words there so that I could play "Friendship Is Rare" by Tenacious D. And it made that particular segment so much better.
Nice.
Yeah.
But basically, they just recap how long they've known each other and how they've been super besties. And so there you go. Paul Heyman is legitimately conflicted between his tribal chief and his super best buddy in the whole wide universe world, CM Punk.
Did you catch that segment where CM Punk was braiding his ponytail? There's a clip of that.
No, I might have blocked that out because Paul Heyman's ponytail is like the dying tail of a plague rat.
Nah, he was brushing it. Yeah. And then
I'm gonna move on.
And then there was a little clip in there where it was like a black and white part where they were, I think, at a picnic, and CM Punk was feeding Paul Heyman some chocolate covered strawberries. Did you see that part?
No, I legitimately don't think I saw that. Maybe I really did block it out.
Yeah, and then there was a part where Paul Heyman was giving CM Punk some some shoulder massages.
Some soldier massages. There we go.
None of those were in there, but in my head they were. I put all of those bits in there. You couldn't stop me, WWE. So nah.
I mean, friendship is rare.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. As long as there's a record deal, we'll always be friends.
Exactly. As long as there is an angle, Paul and CM Punk will always,
always
be friends.
That's right. As long as there's a contract that says so, we'll always be friends.
Best buds. Then we get a very brief Aleister Black vignette, another one that's mostly just swirling smoke on a black background, and then like the number 4, but faster this time because apparently people were able to see too much and pause it too quick, and they'll pass a few. But hopefully that means he's showing up soon. That said, that brings us to the third match of the night, which is Chelsea Green versus Zelina Vega.
You know, funny enough,
would you like to speak to this?
Yeah. Funny enough, this is probably the weakest match of the night, and here's why: because it didn't really happen. There was a moment where Chelsea got out of the ring to demand. She had spent a lot of time before the match trying to get Piper Niven and Alba Fire to suck it up, Buttercups, and come out and be her support. But they
were in the medic bay or the medic's office or something.
Yes, yeah, but they were KO'd. After their match, they were basically wheeled into the back by some very strong palicos. They got some
carted. Oh no, they carted.
They got carted, and they were out. They were flat on their backs, just in a bubble of green medic paste. So yeah, they were not available, and Chelsea was not having that. But she was tried several times, to get them to come out.
I would just like to give you hosting points as my co-host for that embedded Monster Hunter Wilds reference. Thank you so much.
No problem. So, oh yeah, that's what happened. So Green goes out to the apron and she just spends some time talking smack to Barrett and Tesseract. And then she gets back into the ring, and the bell rings, and Zelina Vega wins the match because Green didn't make it before the 10 count. So
yep,
that was that dumb thing.
But yeah, and I think the announcers set the stage for that because they were talking about how Chelsea Green was annoyed with Joe Tess for not, I guess, being nice enough to her,
diplomatic or whatever.
Yeah, so when she was outside the ring slamming Zelina Vega onto the announce table, she threw Zelina into the ring afterwards and then started talking smack, like you said, to Joe Tess without any, like, at all attentiveness to the ring count.
Yeah. I can honestly say, though, I didn't hear him calling any counts. So,
yeah, me either.
Maybe I was just wrapped up in the story, but I don't think so. But yeah, this was a nothing burger. And if they're trying to get Zelina to look like a competent competitor for the belt that Chelsea Green has, maybe winning by disqualification or count out ain't the way to do it. Like, this did nothing to strengthen my belief in Zelina Vega's ability in the ring.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. It didn't really do anything to strengthen Vega's position or Green's.
No, no.
But how does Wade say her name? Zelina or
Man,
Zelina?
I have no
Zelina Vega?
idea.
Um
You know how he says it? Wrong. That's how he says it.
yeah, there you go. But I agree wholeheartedly. It didn't make Selena look like she could be a competent challenge for Green,
No.
but it also confuses. Like, I'm wondering which direction are they trying to go with Chelsea Green? Like, because I thought they were like, especially when she won this belt, they were showing her as a competent ring, wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
At least in certain moments, like she was getting better, and then there was this where she came out whining that she can't have this match without the secret Hervis, and then is so like apparently invested in what Joe Tessitore thinks for some reason. Like, why is anybody invested in what Joe Tessitore thinks? Um, that she loses this match. Admittedly, the belt doesn't move because it's a DQ. And then Zelina seemed fine with that. Like, she wasn't disappointed at all. But I'm like, you just were in the ring for the championship, I think, right? Was it a championship match?
Was it?
At any rate, I don't even know
I
because of
know.
the way they threw it together. Maybe it wasn't. But, I mean, Zelina wasn't disappointed at that at all. And it's like, but you didn't even really get to wrestle much with the champion whose belt you won. So it was a very weird presentation. I don't know what they're trying to make us think about either Chelsea or Zelina with this.
Yeah.
I mean, was it a little bit funny? Yeah, but does it make me compelled at all for what Chelsea Green might be doing at WrestleMania? Not so
No.
much.
No, not really.
Yeah. So I agree with you. I think this is probably the weakest match,
Yeah.
if you can call it that. I mean, I
Yeah.
almost feel like this was just a promo that happened to take place in the ring.
Exactly. Yeah, that's why I can't really call this a match. I mean, sure, moves happened, but in the first like 5 to 10 seconds, and then it was just Chelsea being
Yeah.
Chelsea. Yeah. But
True facts.
yeah, after which we go backstage again to Santos Escobar telling Berto that he's extremely disappointed in him, especially with how much smack he was talking last week. And that's the kind of performer he needs in Legado del Fantasma. So I think he's going to try to recruit Rey Fenix.
Yeah.
Um,
I think so too.
yeah. Meanwhile, Andrade
Andrade.
Andrade El Idolo congratulated Berto on his performance. And Idolo wants Berto to keep his head up, and Berto tells him to mind his damn business.
Jeez, man. All Andrade was doing was trying to perk you up, and you're like, piss off, Andrade.
After this, though, Naomi and Jade Cargo both gave us their super villain / superhero promos on each other. Naomi did hers first, and real talk, she has embraced or mastered, I should say, the ability to look like an evil psycho. She had that shit down packed, man, staring at the camera without blinking. It was freaking amazing. And then they made Jade Cargo look all angelic, and both promos had bars.
Seriously.
Yeah, both of them had bars. I think Jade had one that was kind of my favorite, where she said that the second that she showed up, Naomi had issues with her because she had too much of this, too much of that, and she ended that with too much glow. And I was like, oh shit! Oh,
Yeah. These two women really had a fantastic promo segment
Yeah.
here.
It-
If you like, I'll read Naomi's, and then you could read Jade's because I think the listener should hear it. Neither one of them are super long, but they were fantastic because it definitely painted the picture of like Naomi as a supervillain and Jade as like a superhero.
Okay.
All right, Naomi opens up her promo saying, "Leech, scum, opportunist. There's so many words that describe you, Jade, but there's one word that fits you to the core: snake. Had I not pushed you off that ledge through that windshield, I know it would have eventually been me. Once I got you out of my way, I took my rightful place as champion. Bianca and I even grew a stronger friendship. Now that you're back, Bianca won't even look at me. But it's okay, because there's no more of this fake loyalty. I'm doing what's best for me, and I'm gonna get mine. At WrestleMania, I strongly advise you proceed with caution."
And Jade says, Naomi, you thought you could weather the storm by ducking and dodging me? But now, the moment is here. Time has run out. I'm not just angry. I'm pissed. You came at me because you thought you knew what was best for me. You don't. You tried to take me out because of your own insecurities. But let me ask you this. What happens to a star when it starts to fade? They try to steal the shine from someplace else. That's what this is about. The glow is fading, and Naomi, you're trying to stay relevant in any and every way. That's what this is all about. You were jealous that I came in with so much star power, so much aura, so much glow. And this WrestleMania, I'm not a rookie anymore. I'm your biggest threat because the storm is coming.
Bars!
Bars.
Seriously, these two women's promo was amazing, and I'm more hyped. Like, I was excited to see this match because I was real curious to see. Like, I like both of these performers. Naomi and Jade are amazing,
Yeah.
but I was curious to see how Naomi pulls off a heel, and it is epic.
Yeah, I'm loving
And
it so far. Yeah.
Jade is right there with her, being like the superhero with righteous fury in her heart. Oh, I fucking love it. This is one of the matches I'm most excited for, and they have done an amazing job building the hype.
Yeah.
Just as a contrast, this promo between Naomi and Jade Cargill is so good. By contrast, is the train wreck that was Charlotte and Tiffany. Like, this is the opposite of that. This is how you do a promo perfectly. Train wreck.
Yeah.
So if
Naomi with the razor blades in her hair. Come on.
Was crazy.
Yeah, the looks were on point too for these promos. Like Naomi is crazy. I'm loving it. She is crashing out in ways that are making me so happy.
Yeah, she is pulling off Unhinged perfectly.
Yeah. And speaking of really good promos, Cody Rhodes comes out with he came out to deliver a sermon. And there are all the past champion belts in the ring with him. And I of course I'm not the verbatim girl, but I can speak to how this made me feel, this particular promo that he cut. It sounded like one of an impassioned fan that was really marking out for something that they freaking love. You could tell Cody Rhodes loves this shit. And it was damn near patriotic. The promo that he cut. It was so much hype for the industry, for WWE, for WrestleMania, for that freaking belt. And he even
and what it represents.
He even tied in a promo on John Cena. Like he put he put it all together in a beautiful wrestling sermon that was, I mean, if people didn't give that dude a standing ovation, they really should have. It was it was brilliant.
Absolutely. Yeah, this was This was more than just like a WrestleMania promo. This was almost like a Cody Rhodes, what doing this means to me and all of us who love pro wrestling and the WWE in
Yeah.
particular.
Yeah.
And they had it down all the way to like the presentation, the way it looked. They set up the ring with multiple of the WWE championship, like heavyweight championship belts from years past. And so Cody is in there giving homage to the storied history that is the World Heavyweight Championship. Because essentially, John Cena has stated in a nutshell, he doesn't just want to win to beat Ric Flair's record. He wants to take his ball and go home. He wants to win it and leave with it and end the history of that championship belt with him. And Cody's not about that life. So it's not just about him winning his belt and keeping it. It's about him keeping the belt for WWE against a threat that wants to take it away from him. And so he said at one point, it's not about just him, but about the next 20 champions and the legacy that this belt represents for the future, as well as the past. And I my jaw was on the floor. Like, this was somewhere between, like you said, it was nearly patriotic. It was patriotic and like a sermon all in one for the WWE, what it means to Cody, what that belt means to all of them there, and how John Cena is presented as this big threat to the future that Cody is now fighting for. And that made it all the more epic. It was a super amazing promo by Cody Rhodes by himself. He wasn't bouncing this off John, although he did use the latter half of his promo to make a few points against some things John had told him. Most particularly, he latched on to John Cena, referring to him and the placement of his tattoo and what it represented and how it made him a common fan. And he said, so what? He said, I have the tattoo for the same reason I wear the suit. It's not because I think I'm somebody, it's because I want to be somebody. Essentially intimating that he wants to be a wrestler because he's a fan of wrestling, and this is the guy he's trying to be.
Yeah.
So, amazing. Absolutely amazing promo by Cody Rhodes.
Yep.
Tonight was apparently good promo night because that was on the back end of what Naomi and Jade just did. So it was just like a string of excellent promo work. These were great. These did exactly what you want promos to do, which is build hype for, and it's only a week away, y'all, WrestleMania 41.
I know.
And it
freaking week away.
I know. I'm so excited. I'm hyped for it. I really am.
Yeah, gotta get WrestleMania snacks.
Oh, yep. Settle in for a weekend of wrestling. This is going to be great. Hey, and to all our listeners, prepare, because we've got a couple of shows coming that are related to WrestleMania. Now that we have the lineup, we're thinking of doing a prediction show, and we're definitely going to be making a podcast about WrestleMania. So
for sure.
Listen for those in the future. Speaking of the future, we find out that next week on SmackDown, John Cena returns. So fuck Seattle, because John Cena just didn't care about Washington.
Yeah.
He's going to Vegas. They also indicate that there will be the 2025 Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And I remember thinking when I heard that, although I think we were caught up in the show, so I didn't ask it out loud to you, but any thoughts on who you think could win that Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal?
I have no idea. Who's in it?
Don't know yet.
Yeah.
But I mean, can you just think of someone off the top of your head? Like, the thought that crossed my mind, and I don't know how feasible this is because I don't know the status of his injuries, but it would be an excellent return for Big Bronson Reed if he was capable. Like, assuming he's healed up enough, and he came in there and he won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, that would be a fantastic welcome back.
Yeah, that would be. But I don't know. I don't know how healed up he is currently, because his injuries were pretty bad.
Pretty bad, yeah. Well, at any rate, that was a thought that crossed my mind, and I do hope Big Bronson Reed heals up and is able to return soon, because he was rocketing to the top, and I'm sad to see that stall out on him
Yeah.
with an ill-timed injury. So heal up, get back, get that fire back. We're looking forward to your return.
Indeed.
Additionally, we find out that the Secret Hervis will battle Zelina Vega, Katana Chance, and Kaden Carter. And the Secret Hervis in this instance is all three members, Piper Niven, Alba Fire, and Chelsea Green. Also, the Street Profits will put their WWE Tag Team titles on the line against the Motor City Machine Guns next week. So, some matches to look forward to. After that, Baron Sixpack had a backstage interview with the Street Profits. And he asks them how they're feeling about their big showdown coming up next week with the Motor City Machine Guns. He points out that it's WrestleMania week. And the Profits say they saw the video Motor City Machine Guns made about how they don't care about the gold in the reality shows and the grills. And Montez goes on to say, well, of course not, because you can't be worried about things you don't have. And Angelo goes on to say he wants the IWC Glazers to save their congratulations because the Profits still run this tag team division. At that point, Miz and Carmelo Hayes show up, taking exception to that comment. And Mello calls Miz a true road warrior. He isn't. He doesn't have the face paint or the size for it, but whatever. Miz then says it's a joke that the Profits are running this tag team division. The fact that those titles aren't even on the WrestleMania card is a slap in the face of every superstar that's ever held those titles before, like The Miz, who points out he is a former 9-time tag team champion. So, hey, he's been around the block a few times with those tag belts.
Yeah.
Mello Don't Miz, which is, I guess, the working name for their tag team, are putting the Profits on notice, and they want the smoke because they're Oz him. Again, work in progress. But that brings us to our fourth match of the night, which is Tiffany Stratton versus Roxanne Perez. And would you like to speak to this match?
I would. Another match that was better than I thought it was going to be. It not because Tiffany Stratton can't go, but I've seen very little of the Prodigy. But when I do see her in the ring, I'm always pleased by what I see. So this was no exception. I thought her and Tiffany worked pretty well together. I know that they must have done some matches together in NXT before Tiffany got the call up. But we don't watch NXT like that, so wouldn't know. If we had seen a match between them while they were in NXT, it would have been just pure luck.
True.
Yeah. But this match was pretty good. It did a great job of making Tiffany look good again. It tried. I think they were trying to cleanse our brains of what we saw the last time we saw Tiffany with her promo with Charlotte. Like, I think they were trying their best to just kind of like steer clear on it, steer clear of that, and like give us some, good close cut shot wrestling moves with Tiffany until Charlotte appeared. And I think Tiffany ended up getting the win on this particular match.
She did. She countered out of a crossface by Perez and then hits the PME to pick up the victory.
Yeah.
So, yes.
And then, like, almost right after that, in comes the newly reprimanded and sent home Charlotte Flair. She went home, she had a sandwich, she came back. She came back,
Fueled up.
fueled up on protein, and proceeded to whip Tiffany Stratton's ass. Like she yeeted her across the announcement desk. Like she whooped ass.
Yep. And what was particularly interesting is like it looked like she wasn't going to stop. Like the referee corps were out there and everything, and it wasn't until Wade Barrett stepped kind of in her way,
Yeah,
putting himself between Charlotte and Tiffany, and you could hear Wade say, "Look, you're going to get fired. I'm
yeah,
trying to help you." That Charlotte calmed down.
yeah. Wade coming in.
You know the shit has hit the fan when Wade Barrett is the voice of reason.
You know it. But yeah, that was a good little segment. It ended up being much more entertaining than I thought it would be. And that little segment right there did more to build heat between Charlotte and Tiffany than whatever that abortion was last week. But
Oh, fully agree. Yeah.
yeah. And after that we got a Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth freaking Rollins video package. That was pretty much just a recap of everything.
Everything.
Everything. And then after that, a little bit more of a recap about Triple H and his induction into the Hall of Fame by Shawn Michaels.
Yep.
Oh, we also got a little bit. We also know who else is inducting who. Like Lex Luger will be inducted by Diamond Dallas Page. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Oh yeah, there's going to be a Stone Cold Steve Austin Bret Hart WrestleMania match. WrestleMania 13 match will be inducted by. Oh, it's the match. The
match is being inducted. Yep.
Thank you so much, Brain, to put that together live on air. Thank you so good of you to catch up. My brain's like, what? What are we doing? Oh, Michael McCool was going to be inducted by The Undertaker.
Michelle McCool.
I'm sorry, Michelle. You know what? You do this.
Yeah, I got you. Hey, to anyone listening, it's late. We are cutting this podcast immediately after watching SmackDown, and it is getting late. Michelle McCool will be inducted by The Undertaker, her husband. Michael McCool will be inducted by his husband, The Undertaker. No, wait. No. And of course, the Natural Disasters will be inducted as well. We also, and this is critical information that we were hoping for. We received the official WrestleMania 41 match card. Night 1 will be the War Raiders versus the New Day for the World Tag Team Championships, the Raw side, and LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu for the WWE United States Championship. Rey Mysterio with the Latino World Order versus El Grande Americano with American Made. We'll just have a match. It is a match for the honor of all of Lucha Libre, which Rey Mysterio feels El Grande Americano disrespects. I humbly disagree. He is the best luchador that ever luchad.
I thought you were a face.
I am a switch.
Oh no! Oh my god!
Jade Cargill versus Naomi. I'm super excited about that match. We'll also have Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair for the WWE Women's Championship. I honestly have no idea what to expect out of that after the train wreck that's led up to it. I hope they at least give us a great match because the build-up has been awkward.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the one that I know you are most interested in, I am as well, Gunther versus Jey Uso for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and CM Punk with Paul Heyman in his corner versus Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins in a triple threat match. That is night 1. Then we come to the card for night 2, which will be Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Bayley and Lyra Valkyria for the WWE's Women's Tag Team Championship. Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest in a Sin City Street Fight grudge match where Drew McIntyre theoretically will beat Damian Priest for all of the injustices that he has been visited. And if the build-up's been any indication, he might. We will also see Braun Breaker versus Pinta El Cero Miedo versus Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio in a fatal four-way match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. We will also have AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. I am really hoping that the in-ring for that match is particularly good because the build-up has been so-so.
Yep.
I mean, not particularly terrible, but not particularly good. So it's kind of one of the matches on the card that I'm not as interested in as others.
Yeah.
But AJ and Logan probably could put on a banger, at least inside the ropes.
I'm
hoping for that.
Yeah.
Then, of course, one of the matches that we've watched the build-up for with great interest, Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair in a triple threat match for the WWE Women's World Championship. And then last but not least will be Cody Rhodes versus John Cena for the undisputed WWE Championship. That is a stacked card for both nights.
Yeah.
I am so hyped for it. And after that fantastic news, we are brought to the fifth and final match, our main event, Randy Orton and Louisiana Knight, versus Solo Sikoa and Tamatonga. And what were your thoughts on the main event?
Again, no bad matches tonight, honestly. Randy Orton, LA Knight, surprisingly, looking good together. I say that because they're almost so similar that it almost runs the risk of being boring, or like making a move that either one of them does kind of like I hope I'm explaining this right, and I'm not sure if I am or not, but they have similarities in their wrestling styles that can, if you don't know the particular personalities, if you don't know or like Randy Orton or LA Knight, which I don't know why you wouldn't, it could look as if it was repetitive. I don't know if I'm saying the right word here. I'm saying what it could be, but it wasn't. The match was good. Randy Orton and LA Knight both looked good. Solo Sikoa is, I think, slowly becoming underrated again. I'm not really sure why. I'm not really sure when it happened, but I'm going to blame the Samoan Spike. I blame that move, and also Tamatonga. I blame him too. I don't know what he did, but he did something. But yeah, overall, this match was pretty damn good.
I agree. I can kind of see where you're coming from because LA Knight and Randy Orton they have a handful of flashy moves, and in between is a lot of very fundamental wrestler moves. So I think that might be where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Am I close?
Yeah, I think so. I think you're saying it better than I said it.
Well, because of that, there's decent chunks of a match that can look like it's a whole bunch of haymakers and toe kicks.
Yeah. I mean, it ends up looking like one person in the ring for an extended period of time doing the same move set, when it's really just both LA Knight and Randy Orton. But I see a lot of similarities, and maybe it's just me. Maybe I see that because I took notice because of his finisher. And then I just started looking for other moves or mannerisms that were similar. Maybe that's what it is.
That's a possibility. I mean, Orton has been wrestling all the way through the Attitude Era, and LA Knight is often called a throwback to the Attitude Era.
Mm.
So some crossover there would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, for sure.
But this I felt was a pretty good match, and it was a pretty good match because we actually got to see some fight out of Tonga and Solo, who have basically just been like Jacob's bitches the past few weeks. But we also got to see Randy Orton, and Orton was able to hit most, if not all, of his high spots, including his like fancy power slams, the draping DDT. We got to see LA Knight hit his moves. He got to do the elbow off of the ropes, not the double jump elbow, but the one off the ropes where he does LA Knight first.
Yeah.
We also got to see him just drill Solo with that, like, out of the turnbuckle, like the corner, reverse neck breaker, like from behind on Solo, and Solo hit the mat like he was mad at it. I mean, he dropped him. From Solo, we got to see, from both Solo and Tonga, I want to say, I felt like we saw some headbutt action. But they're Samoans, so that's kind of like that, and the Samoan drop is kind of like that's their shtick.
Yeah.
But they make them look good. But yeah, I think we got to see a little bit of everything from just about everybody. I don't think we saw Tonga Loa's finisher, but we did see a Samoan spike. We did see an RKO, and we did see a blunt force trauma out of LA Knight. And kind of just to talk about how the match ended up finishing, there was a point where it was looking like Solo and Tama might actually have the up, because I'm not, let's see, where, I'm not entirely sure, but I think Randy was like either outside the ring or incapacitated at the time, but Solo ends up coming into the ring and nails LA Knight with sort of that kneeling Samoan spike where LA Knight was sitting up and he just got one. And after that, I want to say Orton comes into the ring and, hits Solo to get him off of this, off of his tag partner. And then I think Tonga tried to interfere with Randy Orton beating up Solo and eats an RKO.
Mm-hmm.
And then Orton and Solo start brawling, and it's at this point that they, like, I don't remember who threw who out of the ring, but they both go out of the ring. I think it was Randy. I think he went outside and tossed Solo over the barricade and then followed him. So they've basically have left the match. They like fight off into the audience after each other, which sort of leaves LA Knight is down because he got hit with the Samoan spike, and Tama Tonga's down because he got hit with an RKO. So they both sort of make their way to their feet at the same time, and they back into each other, and then turn around looking surprised. But LA Knight responds quicker by snagging Tama Tonga with a BFT to pick up the win. And that was how they won that match. But it wasn't very long after that Jacob Fatu enters the ring, and he super kicks the absolute shit out of LA Knight, like right on the jaw. He got him with it. It was fantastic looking, like almost too real. Like I'm like, are you okay, Mr. Knight? And then he hits him with a running senton splash. Then he proceeds to just repeatedly headbutt him back to the mat as he keeps trying to get up. And eventually Knight ends up kind of in a corner on the middle rope, and that, of course, sets up Jacob Fatu hitting him with the running hip attack, which he does, and just it looks brutal. And afterwards, Fatu then proceeds to hit a series of his double jump moonsaults. I think he got 3 of them off on LA Knight. And it shows Jacob standing over a completely demolished LA Knight, salivating with the championship. In fact, I think he picked it up and like licked it. And I was like, okay, that's too much. As the show went off the air. So that builds some heat for LA Knight and Jacob Fatu going into WrestleMania.
Yeah, for sure.
Naramin?
Naramin.
Excellent. So, that all having been said, how would you rate this episode of Friday Night SmackDown?
Very highly. I mean, 8.5, 9. I think it was the same for for Raw earlier this week. This was a hell of a show. The promos were good. Like everything was good here. So yeah, that's my vote or my rating. 8.5 to 9
Nice.
neck nubs.
8.5 to 9 neck nubs. For me, this very nearly hits the ceiling. I'll be perfectly honest. Between like, I'm not counting the Chelsea Green like in-ring promo. I'm going to count that as a promo, and it was good. What I will say is that several of the promos tonight were like perfect.
Yeah.
Like they were 10 out of 10 promos, and every one of the matches, like the full-on legitimate matches, was anywhere from good to outstanding, particularly the women's gauntlet match. Lyra Valkyria and Bayley really, and all of the women involved in that match, they just brought everything to that.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic. So for me, this is going to get the highest rating that I give out to a televised show and not a PLE. It's got a 9.5 from me.
Nice,
9.5
nice.
neck nubs.
Yeah.
And it did everything you wanted. It in and of itself, it was a good show, but it expertly and excellently promoted everything for the just around the corner WrestleMania card coming up.
Yeah.
It gave us the full card. All of the promos were excellent. Some matches that I wasn't that like excited for, or maybe was only medium excited for, I'm now like hyped for. Like Naomi and Jade were epic. And you know, after the bad start with a couple of John Cena's like, you know, I'm the victim, even though I'm a multi-millionaire, many-time champion, and now a celebrity. You know, that crap that killed it for me. But the last couple of promos, John Cena's last encounter in ring with Cody, and tonight Cody just like giving a sermon, has brought me back. Like I'm in now for that match.
Yeah.
And hopefully they can continue. Like they definitely improved on where I was feeling about Charlotte and Tiffany after last week. So it did everything you want a show like this to do. It was good in and of itself, and it absolutely thoroughly promoted everything coming up on WrestleMania. And for that, I give it the highest rating that I'll give a regular televised show.
Yeah.
Perfect. It was really good. Absolutely top tier.
Excellent.
Well, that said, I want to thank everybody who listened to this podcast episode, and I hope you will all join us for the next episodes, especially with WrestleMania coming right around the corner. Until then, I don't think there's too much for me to do but roll the outro.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Top Tier Wrestling. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the latest AEW and WWE news and shows. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast so you never miss an episode. Follow us on social media for updates and to join the conversation. Until next time, everyone, remember, wrestling is always better when it's top tier.